Okay, my network is configured with OSPF and I have connectivity to all parts of my network. Now what I'm going to do is to enable MPLS. To enable MPLS, the first thing that you should do is to make sure that MPLS is enabled globally. So first of all, I type ipsef to make sure that ceph is working and type MPLS IP. This way MPLS is enabled on your global configuration. But for interfaces, there are two different ways to enable MPLS. First of all, I just type show MPLS interfaces, and you can see that it says there is no MPLS interface enabled for me. So what I'm going to do is to go to interface path 00 and type MPLS IP, and you can see that this is the same command that I typed globally. Now if I check show MPLS interfaces, path 00 is under MPLS, and by default LDP is selected as the label distribution protocol. We have TDP also, that is tag distribution protocol, and it is kind of obsolete, and of course it wasn't a standard. LDP is a standard, so you can use it on different vendors routers. You can see that there is no tunnel enabled for now, and I have not used BGP. Later I will show you how we can integrate BGP and MPLS. And also I have this interface operational. It is working just fine. This is one way. So I just remove this with no MPLS IP, and now you can see that there is no interface under MPLS. And what I'm going to do is to go to router OSPF process, and router OSPF process has a command, and of course all of the IGP processes have this command. One of the commands is here, MPLS, and under MPLS we have LDP and autoconfig. If you do this, every interface that is under MPLS network, those interfaces are going to be configured for MPLS. Now if I try to check MPLS interfaces, I can see that two interfaces are here. Now what if I want to remove one of the interfaces from MPLS? Say I have 4 or 5 interfaces under, for example, OSPF IGP process, and I have used MPLS LDP autoconfig to put all of them at once under MPLS, but I want to remove one of the interfaces. Let's say interface path 00. What I'm going to do here is to use a specific command. If I type no MPLS IP, that's not going to work here. It says instead of that, type no MPLS LDP IGP autoconfig, and this help is very good. Here, if you just forgot what to do, just type MPLS IP and it is going to hint you with this, and this way you are removing this interface from MPLS. Now if I try to show MPLS interfaces, I have only one interface, and if I want to take this interface back to MPLS, I just remove this commands no, and by default MPLS LDP IGP auto is default. So if I just check running configuration for interface path 00, I don't see this command under that because this is default command. Now which type of enabling interfaces you choose, this is your choice and based on the design that you are going to have. I prefer to go under interfaces and type MPLS IP, but in some situation I may choose MPLS LDP autoconfig. So let's go to router OSPF 1, and I am going to type no MPLS LDP autoconfig. Instead of that, I'm going to go to these interfaces and type MPLS IP, and I'm going to have all interfaces under MPLS. Of course, I'm going to remove some interfaces from router 1 and router 6, but let's type do WR to make sure that everything is going to be saved. So for router 1 and router 6, I'm not going to enable fast 10 and 11, but for router 2, I'm going to have this enabled. And for rudder 5 and rudder 6 and 1, I'm just going to enable these interfaces. So this is for rudder 1, this is for rudder 6. Okay, now MPLS is enabled on my network. But one thing, how do you know that LDP is chosen as the label distribution protocol? By default, LDP is chosen on most of Cisco routers, and right now, based on the logs, I can tell that this is LDP. But you can change this if you go to, let's say, global configuration. You have MPLS, and after that, label, and after that, protocol, and you can see that you can choose between LDP and TDP. If you want to be explicit, you can just type it, but LDP is default, and here it says LDP is default. But just for being explicit, I just type LDP, and after that, hit enter. I can do this on all my routers. And the next thing that I want to do is this. I want to type LDP, and after that you can see, MPLS label, and after that I have a range of labels. I can choose the range of labels that I am using for my network. And what I'm doing here is to choose a specific range for each router because I want to see which router has issued which label. In production you never do that because you have lots of routers and you don't care about which label is from which router. Just for troubleshooting you may have some problems, but that's okay. But here, because I want to teach you, I'm going to choose this very simple strategy. So for router 1, I'm going to choose between 1000 and 1999, and I just type this, and it says the label range changed, so everything is going to be relabeled. So I'm going to do this on all my routers. Also, so I'm going to paste it here. Also, I want to have loopback 0's IP address as LDP router ID. LDP is going to create neighborship, and you saw the neighborships logs here. For example, here it says LDP, and you can see this is informational, and the neighbor change. It tells me that LDP neighbor 3333 is up, right? And you can see that there is an LDP router ID. This LDP router ID is an IP address from a loopback interface. And if I have a loopback interface with a higher IP address, that's going to be chosen for LDP router ID. But what I'm going to do is to make sure that loopback 0's IP address, whatever it is chosen for my LDP router ID. So I'm going to force it to my routers. So I'm just typing MPLS LDP router ID, and I'm going to type loopback 0 and type force. This way, this is going to be forced to MPLS. So I'm going to choose this command, and I'm going to enable it on all my routers as well. So let's save everything. So for router 2, I'm going to have between 2000 and 3000. So I just copy this and also save everything. I copy this for router 2, do WR of course. Because I am in global configuration, I need to have a do here. So between 3 and 4000, I'm going to assign it to router 3. Router 3. For router 4, I'm going to have this. For router 5 and router 6, the same thing happens. Router 5 and router 6. Like I said, you don't do it in production network. This is just a lab, and I'm going to know that which MPLS label is for which router. Okay, Now the configuration is done. I just do one simple command here, but the verification commands remain for the next section. So just show MPLS forwarding table. And now you can see that I have some labels for my network, but I need to restart LDP so that the labels change. If I do the same thing on the other routers, so show MPLS forwarding table, right now these are the old labels, but after some time they are going to change to new labels. And I'm going to reload, of course, all my routers so that this change happens even faster.